Hello guys, to another video. Today we're going to talk about the official lore of Gotham Blackpowder. I'm on the Wikipedia since the information contained here are the only thing that is valid to be used as it is over here. It's only used from this page. It is an unscripted video meaning I'm not using a script and I'm just speaking to the top of my head. I already let it document all you want so you can put food. It's a hit. As it says over here, the lore of Gotham Blackpowder is the history, story, and background of the game world. This page is meant to provide a comprehensive representation of all current account, accurate, confirmed lore. All information on this page have been directly sourced from a developer or is directly observed in game. Okay, so as we all know how Gotham Blackpowder is, it is like it takes place during the Napoleonic War with the infestation known as the Blight. The infestation, referred to as the Blight, is the unknown disease, meaning we still do not know it yet, with an incredibly high mortality rate, meaning if you're bit, you're dead. Religion of the unknown. It appears in the late seasons of the Russian this war and seems to be in the late to like 1812, I think. At the end, the Russian soldiers begin leaving the culture to appear in small control outbreak among the rank of Ottoman generals and the Russian army. Did the Ottoman did something if to cause the outbreak because they were losing? The outbreaks are able to be contained. These added to other diseases such as the Black Death or malaria, following the burning of monsters, thousands of people's corpses within the city are legendary and begin to slowly wreak havoc across Europe. This is important. Sinners who fail to accept Christ and repent for their sins, upon submitting to an infestation, reanimate, sound the earth down with the soul of the damned trapped within their own dead bodies. And in game, you can see a freeze or a Kaplan now that they're infected or die of infestation, meaning Christianity is an important part since the priest can be infected and the priest is able to uninfect other people, like this one in game. The first map, Bajil, happened in September 28, 2020, 1812. By Norsa as following the burning of Moscow, meaning the first thing that happened was Moscow are burned and then thousands of civilians lined up to attack, and then after the burning, French forces began to retreat from Russia. As French forces retreated, a trigger-happy Frenchman blew the initial bridge across the Blazing River, leaving the Marshal Tutor Vicary's Prince Corps slaughters are from the original brigade encampment trapped on the other side of the river. He ordered the men to make a new bridge. A number of forces take cartage to retrieve logs from a nearby area. I'm assuming either it's a port, a forest, or like the area like the lumberjack that are like grabbing the wood from there and then bringing it to the way we are like building the bridge. And roll them to the players. As the French party begin building the bridge, the soldiers left behind become the first French soldier to encounter the infected. Left behind, they retreated, meaning like they retreated, and some soldiers are left behind, and then they encountered the bride. After they make the bridge, they retreated with the rest of the force, headed by the cruisers and the supply wagon. Got it. Let's see the note. Yes, the folk limit we have been abandoned and left to Smithern. We are the men of the Witter's Ninth Corps and the earth ladder from the former brigade encampment. The bridge was built and destroyed by a trigger half fools who we wait for the Korsat to fill us open and eat us alive. They're not Korsat. Korsat are like a group of people in Russia that are horse archers, like horsemen, and they assuming that the cannibals are the Korsats. With I believe a connection of another yet bridge, Marshall's bridge will. I don't see no conclusion. I fear I won't make it to the brilliant night. The body of terrors have already washed up upon a new encampment. They look dead yet hungry. So they're speaking about the cannibals here. That is for the friends of their own birth. When they're attacking they're attacking the Frenchmen are attacking other Frenchmen basically. What goal or motivation drive them? It's horrifying. What is their reason for attacking here? Reason with every hour we lose more to them. They're losing people to them. If the dark plot doesn't end, they'll put it away. Alright, so let's move on to the second note. We live to fight. Yes, I haven't let it yet. Each bank of will freeze or the cannibal will pick it off. We contact or discover. Alright. Suburban Victoria. I think that's I'm assuming that's the officer of the Ninth Corps. Let's wait. This one happened in November, and then we have in December 24. The checking map that is Vardø in Norway. Royal Navy sailors aboard the HMS Undaunted loads a low-tide ship containing several infected individuals on board within a Brazil, with it crashing on the island of Wotro. The following day, the Navy discovered ships crashing on the island. The Undaunted sent a crew of 15 men aboard a jolly boat to investigate the island. The water is fortress is an island, I'm assuming, which I have really researched that. 4 members of the Royal Navy sailors returned. And after that, we have the Royal Marines and sailors discovered cannibals. They refer to them as the man eating turned to cannibal with the nearby village of Wordsos. And they flee, with several being killed. The crew of HMS Undaunted remained docked. Wait. We know that the three sharpshooters on top of the HMS Undaunted, and they were infected. Meaning they were here with a part of the crew that were on the island, and they are infected. But only 4 of them. So there's another version. We only see 3 of them. Another blizzard reported. Believing that the Royal Marines on the island may be alive, they remain on lookout for a signal from a nearby house. You can see a lighthouse from when we after the church part in Virtual Fortress, you go out to the bridge and there's a church there, a lighthouse there, and we use that to signal them. So they died over here. They were waiting for a signal, and then we signaled them. Okay, here the Danish fortress within the main fortress compound retreated to the basement of one of the buildings within the compound. Shamblers attack and kill multiple Danish soldiers. They make a break for the dock to explode. The Danish soldiers lunge the bell of the nearby church, and the crew of HMS Undaunted, believing it's symbols from their party, signal back. So they were Danish soldiers in the compound. They retreated and they went to the church, and then they rang the bell. The HMS Undaunted, believing that the signal was from their crew, they helped them. They made their way into the lighthouse and activated, guiding the Undaunted to the position. The public didn't know until 1815 on what happened here. When Danish furniture and investment made their way to the fortress to investigate, numerous bodies are recovered, including multiple soldiers, and a learner is spotted trapped in the ice, still alive, with his eyes moving. Okay, that's terrifying. The investigator returned the body from Waterloo to Copenhagen in 1815. This happened in 1812. So for 3 years, we can assume, okay, I'm gonna make an assumption that in 3 years, the blood is gone. It's completely gone and it's safe to investigate. Including, until 1815. And then they made it. Danish people went there to look for it, and still alive. That referring to that blight have ended, and then they found a learner that's still alive in the bright, eyes moving. To Copenhagen in 1815. We already know Copenhagen fell. So it means Copenhagen is in 1815 is good, in a good state, and the zombies are dead instantly. This a sailor diary wins. Yeah, Tuesday, December 25. Ship AAS, small inhabited island. Jolly boats were sent with a party of 15. Okay, they John Adam. They have the Marines and some sailors. Two unknown. I don't know why they're unknown. Four of them came. The death of Elixir, Henry, and Stephen is unknown. Sadly, for the content with into the village, some of the effect on the Tongo base or the main dock. It's meant to be on the lookout for activity. Okay, there. So they're waiting for if the men are still alive, they will wait for that. But instead, the Danish soldiers that were in the compound, they signal the bell, so they believe them. Yeah. Medical journal. Symptom of the disease or hurt. Who is John Lewis? John Lewis helped but doesn't increase over the 3 days. Not only does he have a fever, list to be discarded. Let's say them say harm as Vototti. The dude is John Lewis. Is not the manager at Cutting Blackpowder? So he got discarded at December 22 past 7. Okay, next map we have is San Sebastian. That happened in September to 1813. Donias, San Sebastian, Spain. During the siege of San Sebastian, British and Portuguese tourists are captured by the French and imprisoned on the foot at the top of the hill. At some point, the British breach of the main rampage and the French retreat up the hill. The Blight tried San Sebastian, killing everyone in the city except for the trials in the citadel. I think that's the church. Yeah, that's the church part and the various slaughters. The British army caught completely unprepared, literally fully unorganized, means they don't die if you literally without being organized. So as our Portuguese and British soldiers are like in a jail, a French officer tried to lead the Portuguese prisoner to arm them with the threat. Smart idea. These forces made their way to San Sebastian, encounter a Happy Berry, officer of the 9th Infantry. Originally, he was, I think, it was engineer of the British, and then he helped them escape before dying to a runner and a bomber. The survivors are then attracted to the HMS Undaunted, but they don't know what become up after them. Like, what happened to these British and these French? What happened to them? But the HMS Undaunted, we can see them here as well. So that the HMS Undaunted might be like an important part of the main story. Look at this. John Paper was a British soldier at San Sebastian to the initial background. He left 2 notes for them to pound. The place found. You can find his dead body in a small building added to the caption section. Okay, first note is in Sarah got through the tree. Okay, oh yeah, they're talking about cannibals. Interpreted. Cannibal. Bombard, okay. So he informing civilians to inform the British government about the infestation. And try to be the truth. Look, to only be. Don't bother sending anyone in until they figure out. I do not know what it's referring to. Send anyone in San Sebastian until they figure out. I'm unsure of what it is. Human newspaper. They find a sack of newspaper from the Britannia on a desk in the entry of the building. She saw directly after I think. Okay, they're talking about Lee Collington, British private Robert Smith. So they were locked by the French had him in a motorcycle up Academy foot. Yes, left me a pain. Spent you know how many nights in there. The wall looked caving me out. And then one day, dragged bodies out of the gate, and in horrible indeed, it said, "This was not done by an unarmed man." Tried there to fight to Okay, so Miss tried there to fight for bony friends, and they trying to tell he thinking that their friends are trying to make them fight for them. They died keeping to the king's ceiling to point the mutton at the frenzied bag. Anyway, we made out of the fort, and immediately these men let Dulo them out on the church, and a lot of them being friends would hold inside their heads. They put their eyes looking French and Lannisters. We cut them down to the French were infected, and then they try to kill the British. They didn't understand. We made we just turned away. A Frenchman was torn in half or eaten away. The rose when they started munching on us. Anglos. Of course I made them none of dust me. I let these men out of the hole that we thought we much in a heavy set. Blowing the bridges to by mid-morning, only a few of us and a couple of the frogs, aka friends, made the city wall. One of them sick locusts on, and we made a user. I used it to draw the main work. Now before the blast attacked all the men eating the cannibals, those man-eating cannibals. I all fell as the lower lag to a safety on the Kitty Hill. A jolly boy put earth for me. I fought maybe 200. Got them all done. So they basically told what happened. So they were moving down. A lot of them become infected, and then one day on there, they got jolly boat, and all the friends were dead. Like I think like once you get into the end game, you can find like I don't understand what he's saying. The Brits don't understand what the French are saying. That's how we have lived it. We have the fourth in late 1813. It's morning, right? 18 September. It's been been a while since it happened. At the Battle of Leipzig, the collision and the French opponent continuously encountered both of them encountered the infected at the same time. Many lesbians of previous different nations, previously battles to escape the burning city, actually caused it. Napoleon and other major leaders become aware of the nature of the infection. And as a result, called for a ceasefire. Fighting the Napoleon War officially concluded temporarily. I think forever. Joseph, a French engineer, mistakenly leaves his fuse. Yes, we already know this. To save your allies. The main part over here is that Napoleon became aware of the right. If this happened after the form a coalition against the Bright, where all most of the nations unite. If you go back here on the Ottoman janitors, meaning the Ottomans were, I think they know about the Blight, but I don't know what they're doing in the main territory, but we know about information. So we let's have called after December 1813, January 1814. Wait, my theory about Copenhagen being infected clear by 1815 was a horrible idea. With a mass panic in Germany, panicked civilians in landed hundreds of English civilians, forced them into the cellar of Potsdam Castle. So when civilians lock up hundreds of English civilians in the Potsdam Castle, meaning they're not prisoners in there. Field Metal and an element of the 1st Guard, G-Fuse, and 13th Infantry Regiment and the 18th Infantry Regiment at level some Russian platoon building division and barbarians alive and cold. In an effort to pursue Napoleon and win the Napoleon regardless of the cost, began looting the castle for supplies. When his forces encountered the cellar, the door opened up, and nearly all of Brutman's forces died attempting to close the cellar. The surviving force being placed as players. Now Blutter, who's infected, I'm assuming he was helping them, and his company officer, I think, yeah. When they arrived, they are elements of the German Lear Guard, as well as barbarian and Austrian satirers, attempting to their home. Home to where? Britain? In order to secure the castle, in order to safe passage for the Prussian army along the line later. He later dies. Apart during the castle, they hold up and wait until the retreating army. And after the event, after that, the Prussian army basically became useless with the Prussian chain of command ended. Okay, so now this over here basically kills Prussia, but it's like Field Marshal Brutal, the man that led the Prussian in Waterloo and hit total time. He's important. He's smarty. Next we have Tyno Village. So this one is in April 26th in 1814. Yeah, 1814. Barbarian with majority of the island army to destroy the Panitin. Yes, with Judith Jones having fallen to the bride. The army command of the barbarian passed through the Alps and split out north. The fourth Tarno village, after traveling to a number of fallen villages, found themselves surrounded on all four sides, continuing losing men to the waters of pride and being hammered by the zombies. The barbarians and Austrians at Tarno village, knowing they surrounded, make one last stand before they fall, but it's like they're surrounded and on all sides and there's nothing to do. So we have, let's have some lore over here. We have Allah to level 2, a total of the 5 barbarian infantry, leave a note for them to find. The Charles on side, yeah, the same thing, the Betty is playing that. Yes. Came along way, and I thought this evil since Lhasa, so he been fighting for a while. Yes. There is the unavail of the, okay. Make a break even and make a greater death to many data kill many of them. I'm assuming a bright individual on the second floor means one of the soldiers will infect him and then a surgeon will make some checks on them. Yes. By drafting possibly a daughter silvery growth at the assuming not many, yes. Yes. It's damaging or uneven hair to the title. It's like they have. It's like the Black Death in Malaysia. Dude, they seem to become gray. Assumedly, yeah. So probably by a surgeon, I think. A surgeon to be good at drawing, but they need to do a lot of surgery. A map showing the spread of the throughout Eastern Europe. Okay, so this is how they spread. Found underneath the 16 infantry tackle. He came here and then they came here. What is it? Like they're moving. It's like they know where to hit the major cities. Like over here is like unaffected. A bit over here on the labor side. France is this way, so probably gonna move to this. That's Poland. Russia, and Germany. Poland are horrified. A note that the player will find each other's church. Let's see what the note is. Okay, so supplies are gone, convoy's not coming, they can't wait for food, they're gonna leave as soon as possible, it's not safe. I've been terribly in for some time. Okay, he's infected, my time is up. Yet, yes, they don't know that I'm planning on staying behind until he try to pull me up. I should plan on burning the entry up. If managed to down here, Ella, I'm assuming that is... Okay, a son. The Ella is a son of his father. May the Lord guide you on earth's salvation. So there's a father that said he's infected and he didn't want to hurt his own son, so he tried to stay behind. St. Petersburg. 7th map here, late May 1814. In Russia, so we have, as a bride become an active threat and leave toward Europe, Russian army command continues to pursue Napoleon. Dumb. I don't know why they're still attacking Napoleon even though they're getting hammered by zombies. I don't know what hierarchy got to the army command, but if you know that a zombie outbreak, you shouldn't really just try to like attack each other instead unite. Ignoring the zombie threat and pretending to be a small disease out of the monster. If Motso fell, tell me, if Motso fell, the entire city with thousands of people, like hundreds of thousands of people, if it fell, it's not a small disease. You can't go there anymore. Russian idiotically, so we have Russian forces that became concerned as zombies near city, the gate, and they overland the Russian forces. The Russians are able to lead the zombies away from the city for a period of 7 months. In the May of 1814, the zombie threat is too large to be ignored, and the Prince Michael Anna de Budator Liao onto the plea of the forces by arranging for defenses of the city posting garrison, but still over various defensive points with as much enemy as possible. And using flags to signal to each other. On 18, a forceful evacuation of civilians from Petersburg began using all available means, his fishing boat to civilian bunks to help them over long distance and help less travel by boat. Several months later, several days later, they leave St. Petersburg and invade the city. So Smarty over here. The cities are fortified, and then the civilians already treated. It seems like there were still some of them. And once the bride got there, they literally left them apart, and then there was a lot of zombies in garrison. They're one of the several. I mean, they're way. I think like there are more than 10 of them. I followed defensive policy with the lanes of the city, a Russian army moral detachment position. Okay, so in the lanes of the city, a moral detachment position, the hobo repeatedly make around bribing the Russian army to provide him with guns, jack cannons, and mortar fire on the player position. The players to hold off for several hours. I mean, each wave with another hour, assumably. Defeating the zombies essentially to the other Russian position within the city that they held their position. I mean, they don't fall one day, but they tend to run out of ammo. Now, the players found several notes and documents towards the map. Okay, so we were evacuating those. Near city, zombies, cannibal. Take it. No, you have to take by chance, people. Warm up the quality, meaning the ship might fail. You can lead all this if you want to. Oh wait, did you have another American expedition for the tar? What happened? Generalization, hardship, fever, hallucination, poor vision, and laboratory trouble. And then we have another miracle expedition lighting. I have reported the janitor have taken ill. This Ottoman. Okay, this is the Russian die. Janitor, the burnt part to the length in his bed. Malia. The defense. The Vatican on the supper to speak to breathers. Violence, yes. Monto with no like Victorian 2. When the Monto is in Monto where the janitaries are infected and the Russians are infected, and Monto is not safe. Lahi Horizonk, Liberty Belgium, but they're in 1815. Okay, I'm incorrect about what is the fortress that the chanted came from in 1812 to take like infected zombie to copy-handed. With a large set of forces chasing Hitler, took place at some point in 1815 as the priest curver to the infected Waterloo. The fortunate individual was down to 20 men with 3 bags of flour and some food. Okay. Okay, this one die out. Lucky Hank. That happened on June 18. Yes. It's one of the final sign of the British French forces at Waterloo. It took place prior before Huguenot, and it fell at 8:35 p.m. in June 1815. They can find a note, okay? They they were protected. Yes, yes. You can lead. I'm not doing this. But I like this most of this. But it says 3 men dead. None of them were English. They were friends. They came out and ate him with the mutton chop. The vision of them kicking the train echoed through in my head as we were present. The Germans cleared them off or what remained of him. Okay, there's English, French, and German would remain him the last train that his uniform taken long before he rose. I guess if he heard the brooker call me, she came back up after they were eaten. He died for his officer before a shudder, sadly before put a muscle ball mingled brain. Borman not blame put on and much were useless. They lost too many, and the hordes were more frequent, leaving to me no time to that. One of the cannibals bit him. He landed the time he got bitten. George von Berlin is a soldier of the KGL who spread the word of fall. It's assumed he died in human lead. I'm not doing this. Yes, 8. Now we Hugerman. More of a reporting one with a lot of at the human found at one Waterloo, sort of intentionally sabotaged throughout the rest of the French army's retreat from Waterloo. It takes place shortly after La Haye Saint, which is only a few miles from Huguenot. Sort of players have found a newspaper from Britain on deck, yes. Distant trials went on. Before the defense, the British army abandoned the French forces as Waterloo was retreated. So this is what Arthur Wellesley or the Duke of Wellington were talking about, that they left the French to fend for themselves and retreated, and then the French forces were overwhelmed. The defense of La Haye Saint gave the main French force enough time to retreat from Waterloo. Huguenot fell at 8 at the morning of 19. The he fell like a couple hours later. So I'm assuming like large hordes of zombies were like attacking both of them, and then both of them held off enough time to give the French army enough time to retreat. Yeah, I'm not leading this. Let's be Capiton keep Paris. We have Paris now. In June 1815, and if there is still in June, right? That's still in June. So it's basically after, like shortly after Huguenot and La Haye, they up to Paris. So then they evacuating 10,000 undead in the city, which is meant as Capiton Captain of North States. You drive up the player to begin the full evacuation of cities from the area. After finishing, he rang the bell to signal the ferryman, originally attended for his regiment, to rescue the players. Players that found a number of notes that can be in the walls, led by parachute to the level here from over here. But the players were infected, little many stories can. Still win the key to the Empire of the Dead. Kill me. Comprehended. Okay, so I was assuming in what is this fortress? If we go back up, where is it? It's over here. I was assuming this happened in 1812, and then they bought. And humans gonna be like a couple of weeks journey, like a week journey. They found a runner and then bring it to Copenhagen. The investigator returned the bodies from Waterloo to Copenhagen in 1815. Wait, no. So in 1815, they went to Waterloo Fortress, and then they found corpses from this event, like bodies from this event, still alive. They found a runner in the ice, and then they brought it back in 1815. Moved down to our Copenhagen. Yes, so it happened in July 7, after Paris fell. After the two investigators returned from the fortress and an outbreak of the Pride, the city of Copenhagen. So basically, these came back, and then they led to an outbreak. The city was under full quarantine by the Royal Navy, the British, and the British, yes. With the undead heavily lives in the city, the Nolan intend to keep any from them. Yes. They perform a bombardment of the city, utilizing rockets leaving a platen. The Danish, the players are have to evacuate from the city and escape. 3 chapter articles from the Eagle Post, a Danish newspaper. Okay. I'm not reading this, okay, guys? You reading this. Completely optional to read this. Okay, next, so this is after fell in Paris in northern. Yeah, so like a month after Paris fell. Oh, like this is where the important part comes in. Okay. Following the French evacuation from Paris, American Ambassador William D. Crawfish sent a letter to the United States requesting his evacuation from France. Upon receiving the letter, the United States dispatched the U.S. Constitution to attract Crawford. Crawfish is about to lock up by the French army, and who fortified the city against the third army garrison, and they take him to the attic of a nearby farmhouse. I don't know why they do that. At some point, shortly prior to the arrival of the United States Marines, the zombies breached, meaning they attacked the city and overlanded, killing a lot of the French forces, forcing the to retreat into the building. In a response, the British sent a force to prevent any infected from breaching the shoreline and retrenching the British homeland, which the pure distrust soon between the French, meaning like the French and the British don't trust each other. The British, because the British left the French at Waterloo, the French army takes members of the force, the British force, to prisoner and killed several of them. So that's why at the church garrison you can find like at least one point, but it's like and then you can free them. Under the cover of fog, the United States Constitution sneaked past the British quantity of Europe and docked in the harbor of Lockjaw. The garrison force at the church retreated into the Capion beneath the church, prepared to be overrun by the British expeditionary force, while the French soldiers hold back the Marines outside, believing them to be British. A large portion of the force retreating toward the Corbettons are throttled in their retreat. By the event, Jean Lutis, had been promoted to the rank of captain, had fallen to the right. I'm assuming he was one of the people in Lockjaw. The players can find a note to his corpse after they kill him. And yes. And another note by a British prisoner. Okay, this. First, so he was first the Liu Hu. Means the first light infantry. I'm assuming that the first light infantry in Paris, like in Paris. His regiment in Paris was the first light Hu, and then he is to party my tunnel. They were to move him. The mission took 200 sailors and a crew of looking Frenchmen to death to you. Crewless. By a prisoner. Now we have London in September 10 to 11, 1815. After the fall of Northern France 2 months before, reports of bright tab appeared on the British Isle in cities, and it appears they don't know how they got there. They assume that it would be because of like shipping with contaminated people infestation. In order to halt the impending threat, the British government will introduce martial law within London. Yet, and then they will be unpopular, and then violence and things will go on. The ventilation in Lombardy will be widespread. By the time to Bradley, London military order have driven the 12 American commanders decided they're insane. So that was the Duke of Wellington talk about, but the commanders left and the city have no one to like defend. There's a lot of letters you can find in both of them. You can read them. You can pause. Yeah, Bubble is friend with Duke of Wellington. He's greedy with his human profit. He retreated to the United States before London done any bad. Okay, let me just. Yeah, so he retreated to the United States before London fell, but he knew it. He meant that's one money. So the Duke of Wellington wanted Bubble to stay with him, I'm assuming that. But he didn't. He went back to the United States, but he added many armament to make as much weapons as he can. A little bit contempt, if you want to look at it, you can. That's purely all of the lore in the game that we currently have. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to it, as I will be making more content. It is more of a filler video since I'm like bored and I want to talk about the lore. Since I really like the lore in the story. Many loved up with the crawfish being like in the requesting for help by the United States, and the United States sent the ship over. It's amazing, yeah. Goodbye.